All right, Conrad, Lucy, Caleb, are y'all ready to continue the adventure of the Fantastic Four as they fight against Doctor Doom without their powers? How will they do it? Well, first of all, they've got the assistance of Daredevil, the blind but fearless superhero who's going to lead them in this fight against this powerful enemy. But what's going to happen? I just can't wait to find out. Let's go. Remember when we ended the first part of our story? Daredevil had led the Fantastic Four outside of their barraged warehouse, and they look up at the top of the Baxter building and they see this scientifically advanced flying saucer. And Reed Richards suspects this could be their great enemy. And in fact, they see him at the window, and Reed Richards cries out, "Doctor Doom!" And he says, "Ha! They finally realized who their attacker is. Good. Now I'll make sure that the world realizes it." And he has a powerful weapon at his disposal. And it is actually a projector screen. He says, "There, in order for my triumph to be complete, it must be known who is smashing the FF." And so the sign now says for all to read, "The Fantastic Four shall now die by the hand of Doctor Doom." Reed says, "I was right. It is Doom. But how can we fight him now of all times when we're almost totally defenseless?" "You won't stand alone. Daredevil will also fight at your side." Ben says, "Glad to have you, pal, but it'd take a dozen like you to handle Doctor Doom." Sue realizes he's in our own headquarters. How can we get to him? But the events of the next few seconds answer Sue Storm. Instead of the FF getting to Doctor Doom, their armor-clad adversary brings the attack to them. It's the Fantasticar, but it's operating by remote control, says one of the bystanders. And so as the Fantasticar heads for the fabulous foursome, Ben says, "Disperse. He's using our own car as a weapon against us." Sue says, "Reed, don't sacrifice yourself. Get out of the way. Reed." Oh no, it looks like it's aimed right for Reed. Though the leader of the greatest superpowered group of all time stands helpless, and his three allies are likewise helpless to aid him, a sightless crusader with no power save his own ultra-keen senses and amazing athletic prowess, he leaps into action. "Don't worry, Miss Storm," says Daredevil. "I'll get him out of the way." Whoop! And with his body, he knocks Reed Richards to safety, while at the same time, with his billy club, he averts the direction of the Fantasticar. Reed says, "Thanks, fella. That was quick thinking. But we've got a real battle on our hands now. The four of us have lost our powers, while Doom is more dangerous than ever because he's taken over our own arsenal. Did you realize that? While Doctor Doom has occupied the Baxter building, he's actually using Reed Richards' own weapons against the Fantastic Four." Daredevil realizes the Fantastic Four with no superpowers, then it's up to me to lead them in their fight against the most dangerous enemy of all. And without warning, Doctor Doom strikes again. "Look out," says Johnny. "He's disengaging the F car." Ben says, "He's working each part separately. We can't move fast enough." Daredevil says, "You can't, but Daredevil can," and he grabs Sue and takes her out of the way. Reed says, "Only Doom could have brushed past all my electronic defenses so easily to take over our arsenal of machines and weapons. And look, it's now in several parts, and each one is attacking a different member of the Fantastic Four. Don't worry, Miss Storm, says Daredevil. I won't let that car hit you. Sue says, you seem to know from what direction it's coming, even before anyone can see it. It's almost uncanny. And Daredevil thinks, she doesn't realize that I have the advantage over them. Being unable to see, my radar sense can detect approaching objects with the speed of thought. Sue says, oh no, two cars are converging on Ben. He needs help. He'll be killed. And look, here come two sections from different directions, almost faster than the eye can follow. The man without fear drops his startled burden, spinning around and leaping toward the trapped Ben Grimm as unerringly as a projectile. Ben says, my only chance is to duck, but Daredevil says, no, the impact might still get you. Stand still and trust me. And look, he's leaping toward Ben. And he grabs him just in time. Made it. Just as the two sections of the Fantastic Car tear into each other, breaking apart, sending shrapnel everywhere. Ben says, you're a pretty handy guy to have around in a pinch, pal. Well, I think so. And Daredevil says, that's what I tell them down at the office. Now quick, back into the warehouse. We have to take cover. Sue says, Reed, shouldn't we make for the Baxter building instead? Not now, darling, answers Reed. Follow Daredevil's lead. That's one fellow who knows what he's doing. And so, just like the title of the story says, the blind man shall lead them. Quickly, Doom is sending another section of the F-car after us. Phew, says Johnny. Gosh, sis, I'll say Daredevil knows what he's doing. Crash! That section jams right into the door where they entered. Another second's delay might have been fatal, but they escaped just in time. Bah, says Dr. Doom. So long as they remain hidden within that building, I cannot see them. Yet one thing puzzles me. With all their awesome power, why do they not fight back? How can they hope to defeat me by fleeing? However, my first task is to bring them out into the open again, and Richard's supersonic air displacer vortex machine will do it for me. Fortunately, my intellect matches his own, which enables me to fathom his scientific devices as easily as if they were simple, childish toys. Thus, the powerful vortex ray, which can generate the force of a dozen hurricanes, created by Mr. Fantastic as an aid in weather control, it becomes a deadly weapon under the evil guidance of Dr. Doom. Whirr! Look at this great, powerful wind ray, vortex ray, which shoots out from the Baxter building, aimed at that building. The people are now running away. Within seconds, the condemned warehouse in which the FF and Daredevil had sought shelter becomes a mass of whirling brick and rubble. Daredevil thinks, at a time like this, there is no substitute for vision. I know the building is being destroyed, but I cannot sense the means by which it is being done. But Reed says, this powerful air pressure, the flying debris, it means only one thing. Doom is using my vortex machine. We can't stay here. We have to separate. And Daredevil thinks, good, that tells me what I wanted to know. Although lacking their fabulous superpowers, the valiant Fantastic Four, seasoned by countless epic battles, still maneuver and act with the speed and daring for which they are renowned. And as for Daredevil, Ben says, I don't know how you found your way through all that smoky rubble, but I'm sure glad we were able to follow you. And Daredevil thinks, imagine his surprise if he knew a blind man had led them. Reed says, we're in the clear now, but we can't stay together. Reed says, listen closely. There's no time for questions. Separate immediately. We'll each return to the Baxter building from a different direction. It's our only chance. Daredevil realizes Doom might be watching us right now. But Johnny asks, what can the four of us do without our powers? Daredevil says, you mean the five of you, Torch? Daredevil isn't deserting you now. Ready, Richards? Ready, says Reed. Take care, my dearest, he says to Sue. Don't lose your head. We'll win out somehow. And Sue grabs his hands and says, whether we do or not, darling, remember, I love you. Ben says, let her go, Reed. Move it. Come on, sis, says Johnny. Hearts and flowers won't stop Doom. Then Ben's warning comes not a second too soon. Here comes the vortex. Ben says, scatter. And Daredevil realizes the vortex is back. Sis, follow me, says Johnny. And Sue answers, I will. Reed says, this way, Daredevil, I have a plan. And so they scatter in three different directions. Daredevil and Reed, Johnny and Sue, Ben goes off solo. Daredevil says, tell me quickly, every second counts. Reed answers, we've got to smash Doom's weapons as he uses them. The others should be safe for now. I'm sure he's after me. I see what we need in front of a construction site across the street. If we can just make it, and look at them run. They're desperate. Ah, here they are, says Reed. Gas cylinders, which are used to furnish accessory power. They'll do the trick. Daredevil asks, gas cylinders against a deadly tornado vortex? How? Reed answers, don't forget, the vortex is my creation. I know the elements of which it's composed. So, each one grabs a gas cylinder. Reed says, gas is the only element that will shatter it. No more time. Throw it now. Daredevil acts in response to Reed's command. He says, even without your fabled superpowers, I would never want to have you for an enemy, Richards. And so they cast the gas cylinders inside the vortex as it spins around. Boom! It explodes. Reed says, it worked. Hold your body limp. Relax so no bones will be broken. But he looks and he realizes, I see you're way ahead of me. I'm a fool to advise you on such things. A fool you'll never be, my friend, answers Daredevil. And so the two of them relax and are thrown clear of the explosion, and they are unharmed. Dr. Doom realizes the vortex is destroyed. Again, they've escaped me, but I'll find another weapon to use against them. However, the main problem is still unsolved. Why do they keep fleeing? Why don't they attack? If I did not know better, I'd think they possessed no superpowers with which to strike back at me. And that other who fights with them, he seems to be the one who has taken the lead. But that is impossible. Or is it? It must be the answer, Doom realizes. It's the only explanation. I've been suspecting a trick. I was too cautious to realize the obvious. The Fantastic Four are powerless. Now, all I need to do is focus on Richard's own TV radar tracker components on each of them and pick them off effortlessly at my leisure. And so look, he has a bank of TV screens, and he can watch Daredevil and Reed, Ben, Sue, and Johnny. And he will attack them as he can. He says, "No, that will be too easy. I'll toy with them a while longer. This is too glorious a situation. It must last as long as possible. I'll begin by hounding them with one of Richard's force beam projectiles. Once aimed, once aimed at a human target, the victim's own heartbeat keeps it on course." So look, a projectile that houses a force beam. He's about to send it out after the Fantastic Four. Had I myself created this rather obvious device, it would have been far more sophisticated, far more efficient. However, even in its present cumbersome form, it should serve my purpose admirably. Doctor Doom is so conceited. I can't wait to see him defeated. Reed says, "Daredevil, duck! One of my force beam missiles is coming towards us. It'll continue to blast us unless something diverts it." "Thanks for the briefing, mister," answers Daredevil. "My billy club will be diversion enough." And so Daredevil pulls out his handy billy club and uses it as a weapon. When Daredevil is in his other identity as blind Matt Murdock, the billy club becomes a blind man's guiding cane. But in Daredevil's hands, it is also a formidable weapon. As you can see, at the press of a button, a thin nylon cord whips out from the tip of the famous weapon, forming itself into a lashing lariat. He thinks, guided by the sound of the projector's jet engine, I couldn't miss if I wanted to. But Reed says, "It's unbelievable. You lassoed it in mid-air." Daredevil says, "It would have been more unbelievable if I'd missed. Now I'll just swing it in a wide arc before it breaks free of my lariat." So he swings it around and rams it into a wall. There, it's finished. Daredevil is amazing with his speed and his radar sense and his billy club that has lots of fancy attachments. "Daredevil," says Reed, "for a fellow with no superpowers that I can tell, you're the most incredibly capable fighter I know of. How?" Daredevil says, "It must be that four-leaf clover I carry around. Now listen, I've got an idea. You'll have a better chance to make it to your headquarters if I make Doom concentrate on me. So go to it while I draw his fire." Reed says, "Wait," but Daredevil is already on his way. He leaps up and grabs a pipe and swings up to the top of the roof. He says, "If we don't meet again, it was swell knowing you. You're a real fun group." And so Daredevil is crossing a tight wire. He thinks, Doom doesn't waste any time. I hear an object hurtling towards me. Whatever it is, I'm sure it is not intended to increase my lifespan. Well, I think not. And he says, I'd better not hang around to meet it. So what's he going to do with that weapon coming right at him? He seems defenseless on that tightrope, but he falls down and grabs it with his ankles. He says, wow, I ducked just in time. It was some type of fragment grenade. I can hear the deadly sections flying off in all directions, but they miss Daredevil and he survives that attack. He thinks it's no picnic being a sitting duck for a marksman like Dr. Doom, but it'll be great for my reputation if I survive. I've got to keep drawing his fire long enough to give the FF a chance to come to grips with him, although without their powers, I don't envy them in their coming battle. Reed runs through an alley. He realizes Daredevil's risking his very life for us. I can't let him down by fumbling the ball now. I may have lost my stretching power, but I still have my brain, and no man is helpless while he can still think. Remember that. As long as you have your brain, your power to think and to plan, you still have the ability to fight back against difficult odds. Meanwhile, there's Ben Grimm peeking around the corner. He thinks it was easy to be a brave loudmouth when I had the Thing's strength. Now I'll see how good Ben Grimm is when the chips are down. What can Ben Grimm do without his super strength? But still, he's a very strong athlete himself. We'll see what he can do. And then here come Johnny and Sue. Johnny says, "Sit tight, sis. With all the cars on the street, maybe Doom won't spot us in this one." But Sue says, "Even if we make it to the Baxter Building, we've no chance against Dr. Doom. And yet, we've got to fight him so long as we live." Johnny says, "Which may not be much longer. There's the building, and here we go." So, this is the end of this part of the story. The editor says that they're powerless against the most ruthless villain of all time. The fabulous FF fight their most dangerous battle. Next issue, be sure to come early for a ringside seat. It'll be a sensation. And I tell you, it will be a sensation. It's called The Battle of the Baxter Building. Dr. Doom, more diabolical than ever before. And look, he's fighting against Daredevil and the Fantastic Four. But look, it appears as if somehow they regain their powers. I can't wait to tell you that story, and I'll do it very soon. All right, y'all. I hope you're enjoying this. Love you very much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.